This election year, the Democratic Party, the Democratic primary battles are underway between progressives and the Democratic Party establishment. And in the race for US Senate in Pennsylvania, progressives are already putting the establishment back on its heels.
Swore an oath to protect the Constitution as a Marine, as a prosecutor, and as a member of Congress. And I will keep that oath.
In Pennsylvania, that is Democratic Senate candidate Connor Lamb. He's a centrist with a pedigree the party establishment dreams of. And he won a congressional seat in 2018 in a district Donald Trump carried by 20 points.
Congress needs to ban members, their spouses, and their senior staffers from holding individual stocks. This is just basic common sense.
That is Pennsylvania Senate Democratic candidate John Fetterman speaking out against congressional stock trading. The lieutenant governor looks like he belongs in the Adams family, and his staunch progressive positions frighten some establishment Democrats who think he is too extreme to beat a Republican in Pennsylvania's November general election.
If you don't support raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour, you should live and work for $7.25 an hour so you can demonstrate how you survive, let alone feed a family on that.
For now, though, the conventional wisdom argument about electability is going nowhere. Just months before the May primary, the latest polls show Fetterman ahead by 30 points.
That's right. The progressive Fetterman is up 46%, Lamb's 16%. And in fundraising, Fetterman has raised $12 million according to the last disclosure report compared to Lamb's $4 million. As Politico writes, the party establishment hasn't swooped in to help Lamb, despite the fact that Democratic leaders have aggressively recruited candidates with a profile like his to run for Senate in the past. Lamb's predicament offers a window into how much the Democratic Party has changed in recent years. Progressives have gained a major foothold. Small dollar fundraising has upended election dynamics, and moderate white men like Lamb are no longer shoo-ins. Another thing that may be helping Fetterman in this case is his authenticity. He is a Pennsylvania native who began his career in public service as a teacher of at-risk youth in AmeriCorps. He then served as mayor of Braddock, Pennsylvania for 12 years. He redeveloped the town's abandoned buildings, initiated youth and art programs, and turned around the local economy. 5 years ago, he was elected Pennsylvania's lieutenant governor. Now, as far as those tattoos are concerned, well, on his one arm, he's got a zip code. On his left arm, he's got the zip code of Braddock, Pennsylvania, so he doesn't forget that. And then on the right arm, he's got tattoos listing the date of every homicide in Braddock while he was mayor. Then you add into the fact that he is 6'8", over 300 pounds, and he certainly may look scary looking, but right now it's the Democratic establishment, Cenk, that seems frightened.
Love it. Okay, so first of all, that part of that clip that we showed you is from David's show on Rebel Headquarters. Just check that out. And we'll put the link down below to the full Fetterman clip because it's got some great information in there. David does a brilliant job as usual. My favorite part of that, David, is he too extreme? His positions are like $15 minimum wage, which the Democratic Party is pretending that they all agree with. How could a position that Biden and Pelosi are pretending they have be too extreme? They betray themselves in their language. It's so obvious. Democratic establishment works for corporate donors and corporate donors only. They don't mean any of the policy promises they say. So when someone like John Fetterman actually says it, they know he means it, and then they go, wait, oh, that's extreme. Higher wages for real Americans. I don't know if that'll work well in an election. Are you serious? I mean, other than the absurdity of thinking that people might not want higher wages, there is overwhelming empirical proof. Whenever a higher minimum wage is put on as a ballot measure, it wins overwhelmingly in every state, blue, purple, and red, including Florida, Arkansas, and Missouri, by wide margins and by much wider margins than the corporate Democrats running in that same election cycle on that same ballot. I think the most interesting part of this story is, holy cow, he's up by 30. That's the progressive up by 30. And so now the establishment is reeling. The one thing they're getting kind of Google-eyed over, David, is the money that he's raising. And so I know with absolute certainty that establishment Democrats, literally the only thing they care about is money. And if you show them a pile of cash, they'll be like, yes, right? So part of the reason why they didn't pass the laws that they promised is because of donor cash. the donors didn't want them to, so they didn't. That's the number one reason. But David, this second ironic reason is they now see the power of small donors. They saw it in Bernie Sanders' campaign. They saw it in Nina Turner's campaign, honestly, my campaign, and now in Fetterman's campaign. And so what they do is they go, oh, we really want to pass it. Give us money to pass $15 minimum wage. Oh, golly gee, there was nothing we could do. We couldn't pass it. But God, the Republicans are so bad for not passing it. Give us more money. And give us more money to put more people in office like Fetterman so we can actually pass the $15 minimum wage. Except don't make it Fetterman. Make it that guy, Connor Lamb, who takes all the corporate donor money.
Yeah, the guy who looks like a Boy Scout. But I almost wonder, Cenk, if we've reached this sort of time. I mean, we're all sick of the Lauren Boeberts and Marjorie Taylor Greenes and just how ridiculous the Republicans in Congress have become. That why not have a guy who doesn't seem to smile, who looks like he could literally break any one of them physically in half if they look at him the wrong way? And oh, by the way, he's been fighting for LGBTQ rights. He's been fighting for legalization of marijuana before it became fashionable. The only thing where he's not as progressive has to do a little bit with fracking and coal, but that's a whole other issue. But yeah, by all accounts, he's as progressive as you can get.
Yeah, and one of his so-called extreme policies is being anti-corruption. That pulls it over 90% in the country. Like the mainstream media and establishment Democrats have no idea how clueless they are. They will say outrageous things like that and think that everybody agrees anti-corruption is outrageous, right? Totally extreme. Like no one agrees to that, you schmucks. That's why he's winning by 30 points. And by the way, guys, why is it progressive winning by 30 points? Well, two reasons. Number one, he is already lieutenant governor, so he already had a lot of name recognition. And when he got into the press, they can't say, oh, I'm not covering the lieutenant governor. He's not a credible candidate. Once the progressive has credibility, okay, then we're in business. Then people find out about him, and the minute you find out about people, then you wind up doing great, right? Bernie closed a 50-point lead. And by the way, so that gets us to reason number two. Nina Turner had a huge lead in her first race in Ohio 11. She's running again, ninaturner.com/hello to help her. And by the way, go to Fetterman's website and help him. But she has a similar size lead, and then millions of dollars poured in from lobbyists, and they chipped away, and eventually erased that lead. So that hasn't happened yet to Fetterman, and maybe he's got a big enough lead that it'll discourage the establishment Democrats, and maybe they'll get greedy and think, the small dollar donors, I wonder if there's a way that we could trick our way into getting some of that money. And so they might not fight Fetterman as hard, I don't know. But if they do, and the lobbyists come in, especially if they realize he means it, then you're gonna have to help him even more. But that's part of the reason why he probably has such a giant lead, because of the credibility that the lieutenant governorship gave him, which then led to more free press. And he hasn't been attacked by the lobbyists yet. And David, he's in a sense proving what I've said for the last 20 years here, which is if you actually put progressives on an even battlefield where the press covers them equally and fairly, we'd rock their worlds. The Democratic primary voters agree with us overwhelmingly on the issues, let alone general elections. General election, the voters agree with progressives a lot more than they agree with corporate Democrats. They want higher wages, they want universal health care, they want anti-corruption. Corporate Democrats don't have that, progressives have that.
Yeah, and what Fetterman has is something that a lot of strategists would say is normally a drag. And the strategists say, oh, in this television age, you need somebody who looks clean cut, who smiles and seems to be having a good time. Fetterman literally looks like he's angry, like he's really upset about something. And so that's somewhat of a drag and might frighten some people until they find out, well, he's a family guy, he's actually a nice guy. But again, given the drag that Fetterman starts with by looking sort of like an odd character, and then you add to that the progressive issues, well, of course, it must be the progressive issues that are helping to propel him, because if he had the sort of positions that Connor Lamb had, there wouldn't be the enthusiasm, there wouldn't be the excitement over him in the way that there is now. Well,
actually, the last two things here, slight disagreement there. I think that the fact that he looks like a real person helps him, doesn't hurt him. We're way past time for a progressive populist to rise. So I think it's Fetterman, I think it's Nina Turner, There's a couple other candidates, but there aren't that many because there's progressives, but there are also a lot of them are too well-mannered, right? You need somebody like Nina Turner or John Fetterman to go in there and proverbially, not literally like the right wing, but proverbially and politically break a couple of ankles. And it looks like as a matter of personality, Fetterman and Turner don't mind doing that. And I think people love that. They want real people. They're so tired of the fake politicians. The only reason why the fake politicians win on the Democratic side is because corporate media literally gives them billions of dollars in free media and positive media. By the way, last point is we've got tyt.com/canvas2022 up. In fact, that's the shirt that I have on here, Canvas 2022. You can get this at shoptyt.com. But the reason we have that up is we're featuring our interviews with progressive candidates. I interviewed Fetterman last cycle. I'll do it again this cycle. But so many of those progressive candidates are on that site. We'll put the link down below, tyt.com/canvas2022. Check out those candidates because they're awesome. And your small dollar donations is making a giant difference and it's driving the establishment crazy and it's allowing us to win these races. This is what the takeover of the Democratic Party by progressives looks like. Thanks for watching the Young Turks, I really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR, so those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.